What is up, guys? Diplex here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2. I hope everyone has been well. Sorry for not uploading any videos over the last couple of weeks. I've been here. I haven't been on vacation or anything. I just haven't been recording. I've been working on our Battle of Natuna series. We're talking maps, story, units, you name it, and a few other Men of War related projects, such as this one, the Finnish Army. Now, I haven't made this. Mandingo has. He has also created the amazing armies such as the epic Polish, French, and Italian skin packs over on the Steam Workshop. They are absolutely nuts in terms of quality, and I'm honored to say that he took on the job of making a Finnish army. They have summer uniforms, winter uniforms, early war, late war, great coats, officers, medics, regular infantry, machine gunners, submachine gunners. They've got all kinds of headgear and helmets. They've got cavalry units, at least they're called cavalry. I don't think they will be mounted. We've got ski troops, artillerymen, tank crewmen, because the Finns did use a variety of tanks and whatnot. So it is a fully fledged Finnish army. There are a few other mods out there that adds Finnish troops, but not in this extent or to this quality. So thank you, Mandingo. Everyone in the comment section down below, give it up for him. And if you've got a request, please let him know, because he might just make it. Now, something I've started doing recently is investing money that I earn from donations and video revenue, and of course sponsorships. So there might be a few more sponsorships in the future, but of course nothing crazy or stupid. What I'm doing now is I'm taking that and I'm paying more mappers and modders to import more content. And I think that's a great way for me to try and give back to the community and keep things alive. So I'm going to make a few videos of this mod before it goes public. So I'm going to showcase the summer uniforms now. It's a definite, of course. The Finnish winter uniforms are so cool in this mod. And of course, we're in Finland. I mean, of course, there was a lot of snow. So a lot of the battles took place during the winter. So there's going to be a battle showcasing the winter uniforms, and there might be a third or fourth video with some other cool different variety of units. So that aside, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for allowing me to give back to you in the form of new maps and units. So let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see. So before we get started with today's battle, let me also tell you that your views has created and generated revenue that allows me to pay for more maps. So this is a map that was commissioned by myself as well, and it will probably be going live on the Steam Workshop together with the Finnish Army later this fall or winter. It is made by Lenin. He's not a huge name over on the Steam Workshop, but he's made a few maps, and he's made a beautiful sort of Karelia style map here with Soviet defenses. So after the First War, and we'll do a quick history lesson before we get this battle started. It's going to be a good one, trust me. So do sit tight. The Soviets took some Finnish territory and obviously set up new borders and whatnot. Many years later, as the Germans were planning on invading Soviet Russia, the Finns decided to join in an attempt to reacquire lost territory, and they did. They actually did, but the war ended in a bit of a stalemate, and then eventually a Finnish retreat and a peace, the Moscow Peace Treaty, I do believe that's what it was called, and it was a pretty good way for the Finns to end the war, to be honest. It could have gone worse. They reset the border to pre-continuation war borders, but that was still post-Finnish Winter War borders, which meant they had originally or still lost territory. But it was a valiant attempt at regaining lost territory from the First War, and they beat back the Russians quite severely during the early stages of the war. And overall, the Finns were considered great winners in terms of manpower and morale in general. The Finns gave the Soviets a pretty severe thrashing, if we're going to be honest, especially considering the available manpower and resources. But a stalemate war, or a sort of sitting war, is nothing you can win against the Soviets by the end of it, especially not a war of attrition. But Karelia, which is obviously the area where the war pretty much took place in, was divided into three larger areas. To the west by the Finnish Bay and west of Lake Lagoda, you have, I'm having trouble pronouncing this every time, you have Lake Isthmus, or not Lake Isthmus, Karelia Isthmus, Something like that, yes. North/east of Lake Lagoda, you have Lagoda, Karelia. And east of that, you have East Karelia, which is still west of Lake Onega, which is then separated by more land and then the Arctic Sea and stuff to the north. So it's a pretty tight, small area, but lots of lakes and stuff and forests and very, very difficult terrain. So there weren't huge border changes during these 4 years, or 3 years actually, to be exact, 3 years and 2 months or so of fighting. But the Finns made it pretty far in. They made it all the way to the river Svir, I do believe, which runs in between Lake Onega and Lake Lagoda to the west. So enough geography and history. I think I'm going to just get myself confused. You're here for the skins in the battle, and trust me, you're going to get a good one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and click start. A heads up, the Finns speak German this time around. Perhaps for a next video I can fix a Finnish voice pack. That would be incredible. But it is July. The offensive has begun. The 2nd and 7th Army Corps are now attacking Soviet-held border positions north of Lake Lagoda. And the Soviets actually had to withdraw, and they lost a lot of equipment due to the fact that they were so late with their withdrawal orders. They should have retreated earlier, which gave the Finns a lot of equipment from this area. Alright, the battle is on. We saw some early artillery rounds shake up a few Soviet trenches and positions. And we see Finnish mortars and artillery delivering more damage to the Soviet-held positions. Let's zoom in a little bit closer and have a look at these fantastic early war summer uniforms for the Finns. We're not going to see a lot of helmets, mainly the M36 cap. Some of the squad leaders will use the M36 helmet, which is sort of a bigger Stahlhelm in a way. Later on, I think they used the M38 helmet, which was slightly smaller, and I'm sure we'll see that as well. We've got a great variety of Finnish weapons. We've got a machine gun back here that's just supporting the infantry moving up. I think there's a Maxim machine gun still active here. This is here on the right flank. How is it going here on the left side? We've got a pretty broad offensive here. We have infantry moving up here as well. Some have been gunned down in the open, but right now this is going to be a flank that is going to come into effect much later. Right now they're going to prepare and suppress. Most of the Finnish movement will occur here on the right side, as they have to first take the first Soviet roadblock. They've just knocked out the machine gun bunker, but there might be a few Soviets around here still. Some captured Soviet T-26s are moving up now. I think close to 50 were captured during the first Winter War. And 36 of them were repaired and saw frontline service in the continuation war. We're also going to see a variety of armor later on, but I thought these two would look good for now. And they're going to actually use the sort of a German camouflage here, or a German paint job, because I couldn't find any Finnish one. But perhaps I'll spend time to reskin later on as well. It's not going to be too difficult to put some Finnish flags on the tank. Oh, guys, I would get away from that tank if I were you. Some Soviet AT guns, and a T-26 bunker is doing a lot of damage to the Finnish armor. This tank is going to skip the road, find some cover here in the swampland. Finnish mortars hitting the Soviet-held trenches here. This is a really cool border position. You're really getting that kind of feel, how it's sort of like a no man's land here in the center. And you now have Finnish troops occupying it, rushing ahead. We have a squad leader here with the the Finnish Suomi submachine gun, which is, it looks a lot like the PPSH, which is a more famous gun from the time and era. There's some more Finnish infantry back here. This is a medic, actually. I wonder if he'll try and go and save his friend up there. Oh, they're going to be killed by shrapnel from a Soviet mortar round. So both tanks are down. That's unfortunate. The Soviet sort of ridge defense is still too strong. A lot of Finnish mortar rounds have done a lot of damage to their positions back here. One of the AT guns have been disabled and knocked out, but this bunker and AT gun over here is still fully functional. And those Maxim machine guns are so loud. I'm having a hard time hearing myself. Got some more Finnish infantry moving up here. Now, the rifle they're using is called the Mosin, so obviously very similar to the Mosin Nagant, but I do believe there's a slight difference to it, but it is historically accurate, so it would be the gun they used. I've been supplied with a few other weapons as well, but all guns that the Finns are using are brand new with this mod, and I just find it really, really cool. Here's another look at a Suomi submachine gun. You can even see that he's got a sort of drum mag hanging from his belt there, so that's really cool. More prominently here is the Finnish Lahti light machine gun. Sorry, I almost burped. I didn't mean to do that, so that's why it sounded weird instead. It's a cool infantry support weapon, 20 rounds in the magazine. It reminds me a bit of a BAR slash MG34 slash Bren, so pretty much every light machine gun of the time. But yeah, it's a cool thing. It comes with folded and deployed bipods, so you got a bit of variety there. We'll probably see that in action later on. So we've got a battalion of Finnish infantry. Here we go. Here. Okay, that was a very brief look at the Lahti. That's unfortunate. Yes, so the right side is starting to move up now. The Finns are very quiet but determined. And just as I say that, they're starting to speak German. But yes, I'm looking to replace these German voices with Finnish ones later on. I think there are a few available. They're moving up, covering each other, getting to the first set of obstacles here. There's a few machine gunners back there that need to be dealt with. That mortar round was nice. That one hit quite nicely. We've got just Soviet positions throughout this entire ridgeline. It's so cool. And you can see these gray uniforms here and there, worn by Finnish soldiers. And I am so excited to show you the rest. I didn't want to spoil more in this video, but trust me, we're going to do like a Winter 41/42 scenario later on, where you will be able to enjoy ski troops and hooded Finns, literally, with their like overalls. It's so cool looking. I got that Lahti. It's jammed, son. Satani perkele. Now, I don't speak Finnish, but I know a few words, and some Finns did speak Swedish at the time, or a more official word for it would be Swedish Finnish or Finnish Swedish. It's like a semi-official language. It's like more of a dialect or accent, but yeah, there are some borrowed words here and there. But Sweden or Swedish was actually, or is actually, I think, a language required to be learned in Finland. It's obviously a slightly different topic, but a lot of Finns do speak Swedish, and in some areas of Finland, you have entirely like Swedish-speaking communities. And I think, I'm not sure if it's currently active, but there was like a brigade or a regiment that spoke just Swedish, so which is kind of cool. Like Sweden and Finland have a lot of shared roots and such, so there's a lot of common history. So I guess I'll speak my best Finnish Swedish during this video. Ryssjävlar! Which basically means fucking Russians. Alright, so the left side is, they're starting to move up now. Lahti! I just think it's cool, man. I'm just excited. If you have the chance to watch the latest rendition or edition of a very famous movie called Unknown Soldier, it's based on a book. It's sort of a national story for Finland. It's obviously set during the war. They've made many movies, but the latest one is super crisp and awesome. It's a really heavy war movie with lots of great scenes, and I think it's actually the most expensive movie ever made in Finland. So if you have the chance, check out Unknown Soldier. I do believe it's from 2017. Fantastic movie. Really substantial in terms of like the war scenes. I think it's like a Finnish Saving Private Ryan in a way. It's got some humor in it, but some really heavy war scenes. So do check that out. All right, we're starting to make some progress now. We've got troops moving up on the left side. There is a Maxim machine gun, and we have a AT gun and the T-26. Still active Soviet assets here defending the front line during this July battle. So the Finns, did they catch the Soviets by surprise in some way? But with great skill, training, and determination, they blitzed the hell out of the Soviets, and they used a lot of light infantry on, like, bicycles and stuff. So they were able to punch through a lot of the Soviet lines. So they saw a lot of success early on in the war, and it's interesting coming from a small faction, a nation like Finland, especially after their loss in the Winter War. It must have been very demoralizing, but also it must have encouraged their soldiers severely for the upcoming war. I think a lot of people volunteered to be part of the continuation war later on when that was put into plan. They must have obviously prepared for it quite some time before the outbreak of the war itself. Perhaps the Soviets kind of saw it coming with the rise of Nazi Germany and their ambitions to conquer the Soviet Union as well. One could say they were almost a little foolish to not see it coming, but who knows. We're not going to get into a discussion about that because that is too broad of a subject and it's a little too off topic. Okay, we're starting to move up now. We still haven't really captured this first bunker position, but we're actually starting to make some progress down the center and on the left flank. We've taken some mortar fire, a few direct hits by the AT, and it's kind of... the anti-tank units here are really doing damage to us. I see a few Finnish heroes crawling up here with their machine guns in hand. Yeah, but they're using this ridge, all the trees and stones here, for cover. You're pretty much dead out here in the open. You're going to be an easy target for Soviet riflemen. Oh, a truck just arrived. It just literally just arrived with infantry. Well, that is so cool. So the Soviets are getting some reinforcements on this side. And it looks like the next barrage of Finnish artillery is starting to land throughout the battlefield. Oh my god, that was a really good hit. Two simultaneous hits and a third one. Oh man, the Soviets are in for a beating today. Look at this. He's even made he's made the interior of this sort of like trench bunker. I would never look into this unless it was destroyed. And now it was destroyed by some artillery shells. And now we can see it. It's a shame here we lost most of the Soviets in this trench position, but some of the reinforcements did survive. This bunker is like going up in flames now. I think the T-26 tank turret was hit. And we're going to see some trench combat now in between, well, not in between, but between Soviet and Finnish soldiers. I don't think this 80 gunner is going to do much more damage crewing this gun, but we'll see what he will do. He's going to fire up close at the Finnish infantry. Satani perkele! That's basically like the only swear word I know. Actually, a few more, but I think they might be a little too graphic. Risjävlar! Kom hit! This guy sounds so weird. I hope I'm not offending any Finns, because I'm practically just speaking Swedish with a Finnish accent, but it's still more or less kind of like a semi-language in a way. We've got some more tanks moving up, but that heavy gun is just like... it's really putting a halt to this advance here. I wonder if they'll put a round through that bunker window. I think they're aiming at it. Maybe the crew might be a little shocked and confused now that they're taking so much heavy fire. But I would like to see a big, what is it, 37mm shell go through that bunker window. That would be so cool. Can you do that for us? Maybe. Oh, he's going to move instead. Well, we're finally getting some infantry up here. Hopefully you've gotten a good idea of what the 1941 summer uniform is looking like. It's a very, kind of like a light gray. Mostly, mostly also like M36 service caps among the infantry. A few helmets, mostly for the more senior infantry. Yeah, this guy's moving up. We also have some Soviet reinforcement up along the tree line here, doing what they can to hold back the Finnish advance. Oh, he's just suppressing that sandbag position. That was so cool. All clear here. Oh, he's going to back up. That's interesting. I wonder why. Maybe he's trolling the Soviets. Who knows? Finnish riflemen moving up. Suomi submachine gun. Which came first, the Suomi or the PPSH? Not entirely sure. I think the PPD came before the PPSH, if I'm not entirely incorrect. But it's a common misconception sometimes to think that the more famous gun was first. That is not always the case. designs can be stolen from smaller factions. By major factions. Ooh. Okay, that Dushka is knocked out. How's it looking on the left side? Oh, the Finns are just rushing this trench. He's shot dead. Cool. So far, this the summer offensive has been successful, as it historically was pretty much throughout the entire front line. We will probably get down to some cool trench combat to simulate 43 and 44, and perhaps also the retreat and the use of more Soviet armor and whatnot as it arrived to this theater later on. Once again, I'm basing most of this off of my most of the time I've had to sort of read up and watch some Finnish war movies. I've seen a few over the years. There's a few good ones. There's one called on Swedish. No, it's called behind the. There's one called Ambush, and I'm not sure if that's called what I'm trying to think of in Swedish. That might just be the translation. But there's a few different ones. There's one where you follow like a set of Swedish soldiers, and there's one where you follow a bicycle company or a bicycle platoon and their like journey during the continuation war. So there's a few good war movies. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for enjoying this map. Let's not look at casualties. We usually do, but I just don't see the point of it. It kind of removes some of the ambient feel. We don't really know how many Finns are dead today, but we know that they've completed their objective. There's many down here. And we're not going to obviously not really take a look at Soviet casualties either. This is a bit of a makeshift bunker, so it's not an official T-26 bunker. Lenin was clever enough to make it himself, but that means there's a tank below here that's freaking out. So, spoiler alert, that's going on right there. We see a few dead Soviets here to the Finnish artillery. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it historically giving and entertaining. So we're just going to have a last look here at some of the Finnish summer uniforms, some of the variations. We have a medic here. We have a squad leader that is not using a helmet. So, of course, not everyone would wear a helmet. I mean, it can be a little individual, and I like to have a nice variety among the infantry. So they look like German at a glance, but they're quite different. Here's one final look. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.